There's a very strange story emerging between Mt.GOX, the IRS, Nigeria, and Binance. What am I talking about? Welcome back, everyone. This is going to be a little confusing and a little bit weird. Anyways, shout out to Lucky Redfish. Sent me a DM this morning and was like, start looking into this. And yeah, this is, look, I've reported on Mt.GOX a few times. Obviously, I've reported on what happened at Binance, right? I've been saying that essentially what we saw happen at Binance was just the changing of the guard, right? Essentially, CZ had to, he had to pay the toll for what he did, right? So he had the public humiliation ritual. He has to pay the fines and go to jail. There, right? The typical pay to play. And now the new puppets are in place at Binance, right, to make sure that everything is legitimate. Okay, fair enough. That's been my narrative the whole time. Now, this story kind of ties into this, and it also brings in maybe some players that we weren't expecting, maybe some organizations that we weren't expecting. Anyways, let's dive into this because this is a little bit strange, okay? We're looking at essentially, there is a gentleman named Tigris Gambruyan who left the IRS, but then went to go work for Binance and essentially trained Nigerian officials on cryptocurrency, okay? So there's this aspect of it. There's also the aspect of the Mt.GOX coins, okay, getting seized, right? And then there's also this strange story of this Zappo bank, which many people don't really talk about. I personally had never heard of Zappo Bank, or maybe I did and I just blocked it out or whatever, but I believe I hadn't heard of it until I saw this tweet. Anyways, okay, let's dive into it because it's definitely confusing. I don't think it's just going to be a one episode. I feel like this is going to be one of those that's going to require multiple clips as the story evolves. Anyway, so here we go. Tweet from Boring Sleuth or Truth Labs. Okay, for a second, consider this. Mt.GOX was exploited for over 500k Bitcoin, which is so many BTC, you would need to wash them off the Bitcoin chain to have any luck of cleaning them and making them untraceable. Okay, that's a fair assessment, right? That is a lot of Bitcoin. People are going to notice it. Of the stolen Bitcoin, only part of it was seized. The other part of it didn't get seized and was overlooked by the investigators. The main investigator, Gambruyan. Okay, now keep in mind, because we're gonna dive into this story of what's happening to poor Tigris Gambruyan all of a sudden, was the lead investigator for a special U.S. task force overseeing the largest crypto exploits for about 7 years. Gambruyan left the IRS in 2021. And went to Binance, an exchange riddled with fraud and money laundering, which the owner, CZ, right, only got 4 months of jail time and just had to pay a fine and, of course, step down from his role. Gambruyan was arrested by the Nigerian government in March of 2024, where he remains facing trial for crimes related to Binance. Back to the stolen GOX BTC. Of the Bitcoin that wasn't seized, lots of it was used to buy up the Ethereum ICO. That's kind of interesting. I don't know much about that, but we're going to obviously have to do some research into that. It's unknown who controlled these wallets with the stolen Bitcoin, but Ross, who is in prison, didn't, right? And this goes back to what we've said, right? With the people that you see going to jail, these are the scapegoats. These are the people that are meant to be shown as an example. Okay, it does. This example serves. It's a multi-purposed example. The first part of the example is that it shows people that, hey, the law is on your side. They're paying attention to you. Okay, they're paying attention to what you're doing. And if you screw up, right, and you try to screw people, well, you're going to pay for it. The other part of it, right? The other part of it is that they make sure that no one else gets the idea to try this either, because, hey, we've made an example of this person, or this company. You don't want to end up like them. Look at the example. The state enforces violence. Anyways, okay. Let's go back to the story here. Point number 7, Gambrian and the Special Task Force had complete control over all the Mt.GOX accounts during the investigations. So keep in mind, right? This person who was at the IRS all of a sudden goes to Binance. Half of that Mt.GOX coin is unaccounted for, so to speak. And yet, Gambrian and the Special Task Force had complete control over all the Mt.GOX accounts during the investigation. Okay, fair enough. Of the seized Mt.GOX Bitcoin, some of it was sold to Tim Draper and other VPs, which we do know about. Okay, that was public. Other seized Mt.GOX Bitcoin ends up being sent to the Ethereum founders' wallets in early 2015 on a couple of different occasions. The Ethereum Foundation sends Tim Draper funds in early 2015 as well. And this is where I get introduced to Zappo. They all used the private exchange Zappo. Circling back, the Mu founders' BTC wallets, the Ethereum Foundation's BTC wallets, and the Mt.GOX prisoned founder all had their wallets originally funded by the same Silk Road wallets. Interesting. And for the people who don't know what Mu stands for, it stands for My Ether Wallet. Anyways, number 13, I haven't even scratched the surface of all the exploits in crypto that are being blamed on North Korea, that aren't North Korea. The Mu founders are now the lead investigators working with the CFTC and Trim Labs, who break the news and the propaganda research that North Korea is behind the latest hack on Ethereum. They had an ETH founder infiltrate me that is directly tied to these people on chain. I won't touch all of these connections to the banking system, but I could. Massive amounts of PPP fraud, trillions funneled through Ethereum. This could be 10,000 bullet points long, but I'll stop here. This week, politicians voted through a crypto bill which got the largest bipartisan support in what seems like a decade. And also, right, interestingly enough, we're seeing politicians who weren't friendly to Bitcoin and crypto all of a sudden open up to it. I wonder why. Okay, so look, let's start pulling on the threads because there's a few of them.
Hello, my name is Tigran Gambarian. I'm the head of financial crime compliance for Binance. I've been detained by the Nigerian government for a month. I don't know what's going to happen to me after today. Today I discovered that Nadeem escaped. I have nothing to do with it. I was not involved in any of it, but they will take my phone away. Only thing I ask is, guys, I've done nothing wrong. I've been a cop my whole life. I just asked the Nigerian government to let me go, and I asked the United States government to assist me. I need your help, guys. I don't know if I'll be able to get out of this without your help. Please help.
Okay, so that was a video that was published on April 9th, 2024. Okay, so let's dive into this. Okay, so here we go. So Gambarian, head of the financial crime compliance team of the world's largest cryptocurrency company, right, Binance, okay, was charged alongside Binance on 5 counts of financial crimes filed by Nigeria's Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. Now, it's very interesting because just yesterday, there was a tweet about how the Naira, okay, is now essentially having sat-cent parity. Okay, so this just goes to show you how essentially how devalued the Nigerian dollar is. Anyways, let's continue. Binance and Gambarian have argued that he holds no decision-making power in the company and therefore cannot be held responsible for any ongoing disputes between the firm and the Nigerian government. A Binance statement notes that he was even involved in training officials in Nigeria. So I want you to think about this, okay? He's being held in Nigeria, okay, for financial crimes against Nigerians, but yet he was the person who trained them, which means so essentially what you're seeing is that you're seeing government officials not taking personal responsibility and are attempting to scapegoat this person who is already in a bad situation. In a statement, Binance noted in part that Tigran's team also provided multiple training sessions for Nigerian crime fighters on the role of exchanges in the digital asset ecosystem. This included a 3-hour online workshop for 70 Nigerian EFCC officials in mid-2023 and late last year. 2 full-day sessions for EFCC officials in Abuja and Lagos, with more than 30 investigators attending each time. They're really going to scapegoat this guy? The prosecuting team called for Gambarian's transfer from the facility where he was being held to the Kuj prison in the capital city of Abuja, a prison known to hold Islamic extremists like Boko Haram. This is pretty crazy, right? If you just stop and think for a second, right? This guy was just working for Binance, and yet CZ, the CEO, got off lighter than what is happening to this poor guy. Okay. And again, right, you may not want to believe me, and that's perfectly fine. I don't care. I don't need you to. But this is how it works. Okay. Like these scapegoats, this is just some random guy, right? It's just some random guy that had some good positions, and boom. This guy's going to be like, it's going to be it's going to be the black bag over the head, and he gets othered, and no one will ever talk about this story ever again. He'll just disappear. And he'll disappear because he didn't kiss the ring and he wasn't part of the club. Anyways, Gambarian has not been convicted of any crimes, and his trial date is set to start May 2nd. I cannot believe our nightmare has gotten worse, Gambarian's wife Yuki said in a statement Monday. I'm beyond heartbroken that my innocent husband is being sent to a prison that houses known terrorists and murderers. He is clearly a scapegoat for whatever problems they are facing, and it's beyond unacceptable that this is how they are treating a completely innocent man. Yuki's belief in her husband is being used as a scapegoat has reportedly been shared by other U.S. security and economic experts who point to Nigeria's failing economy and Abuya's attempts to land the blame on cryptocurrency. We've been saying this for a while. When I say we, I'm talking about, Bitcoiners, that it's along the story arc that eventually we will be blamed for the quote unquote financial collapse, right? Everyone that needs to pretend that money printing doesn't destroy our value retention, well, they're all just going to be like, crypto did this. Bitcoin ruined the economy. It's like, no, you're just lucky that people are like Alzheimer's patients wandering around and they have no idea what's happening. Okay? Because it's clearly the devaluing of the dollar. It is clearly the money printing. Okay? Like there's no hiding that. Anyways, let's continue. However, the unregulated nature of cryptocurrency company and monetary policy failures in Nigeria have left Abuja scrambling, and Binance has been blamed for allegedly devaluing the naira. That's right, guys. That's right. The shitcoin exchange that is Binance is solely responsible for the devaluation of one country's currency where the government cannot seem to keep themselves in check. And can't stop printing the dollars. Yeah, it's the fault of Binance. It's so stupid. Okay. Anyways, let's dive into this Zappo bank because there's all these different threads to pull, right? You'll notice in the original story, in the original tweet, all of this activity is being facilitated through Zappo Bank, right? Who is Zappo? So here we go. Zappo, they're out of Palo Alto, California. We're not really surprised by that. It's a privately held corporation. Means you can't, it's not publicly traded. There are no shares on the public market for this company. Patent activity. Their two most recent patents, right? I mean, they're not that they're not that new, but 2018, 2019. One of them is a secure vault system for private key storage. And another one is recording evidence of addresses and account allocations in a distributed ledger. Okay. And now let's go take a look at the board members. So one of the first names that stuck out here is Anju Padwarden. The only reason it stuck out to me was because this person was representing herself. Okay, here is Anju Padwarden, and this is on the RockefellerFoundation.org website. Anju Padwarden is a fintech venture investor and has invested in over 60 companies globally. Okay, she was previously at Citibank and Standard Chartered Bank for over 2 decades in global leadership roles. Presently, she serves on the boards of Gulf International Bank, Saudi Arabia, Zappo Bank, Upgrade Inc., Distinguished Careers Institute, Stanford University, and ECOGRID University. What people don't realize is you'll start to notice if you really pay attention to who sits on the board of directors, it's a very small group of individuals in each country. And interestingly enough, they hold many different seats on many different boards of directorships. That's actually their jobs. If you think about it, right, that's what their jobs become. Another person we're going to take a look at is Wences Casares. So Wences, interestingly enough, we were able to find his profile on the World Economic Forum. So, all right, so you've got Anju on one side. She is she's a representative of the Rockefeller Foundation. We've got Wences, who is actually the CEO of Zappo, World Economic Forum. And who remembers, like, just a few months ago, right, where Klaus Schwab all of a sudden starts touting the virtues of Bitcoin? It's all right, guys. These aren't coincidences. It's okay. It's okay. Anyways, so yeah, Wences Casares is technology entrepreneur with global business experience, specialized in technology and finance ventures. He is founder and executive officer of Lemon Wallet. Casares launched Argentina's first internet service provider, Internet Argentina, in 1994, a company he would go on to sell in order to found the Argentine online brokerage Patagon in 1997, with Casares serving as chairman, chief executive officer. Patagon established itself as Latin America's first comprehensive internet financial services portal and expanded its online banking services to the US, Spain, and Germany. Patagon was acquired by Spanish bank Banco Santander for $750 million. Casares also the founder of Wanako Games, a video game developer that produced the award-winning game Assault Heroes, which was honored as Game of the Year for Microsoft Xbox. The company was acquired by Activision. He founded Banco Lemon, a retail bank for the underbanked in Brazil. Banco do Brasil, Brazil's largest bank, acquired Banco Lemon in June 2009. Okay, so there were several major investors in Zappo Bank. All right, Benchmark Bank led the $20 million Series A founding round. Okay, Emergence Capital Partners provided $20 million in Series B, and Coinbase provided $55 million in funding as well. There were also some angel investors in Zappo Bank. One of them being Max Levchin. I don't know who the other two are, but look. So the whole reason I'm pulling this all together, right? Like, what is the common thread? The common thread, if you ask me, is simply control and gatekeeping. It is that simple. Now, I do believe that Gambarian's wife is correct about the scapegoating. It's very, very peculiar that this person was working for the IRS. All right, that's not the peculiar part. Worked for the IRS, then goes over to Binance. Like, keep in mind, right? Working for the IRS, the MT.GOX situation happened. They repo the funds. All of a sudden, this guy goes over, right? Moves over to Binance. And all of a sudden, what happens with Binance, right? There is this massive problem with Binance. All of a sudden, CZ is under heavy scrutiny. CZ now has to leave the helm, right? But he can't just leave without a reason, right? So a situation is created where CZ is obviously criminalized. And again, I'm not condoning the shitcoining behavior. That's a whole other part. I'm just talking about the story, the way the story is formed, right? So CZ is now an enemy, right? He is a bad actor, acting in bad faith, and he has to be punished. So he pays the toll, he does the humiliation ritual, and he goes to jail, right? But then a new puppet gets installed in his place that then gets to be the extension, I believe, the extension of the US government, or really an extension of Silicon Valley. Anyways, yeah, this is really interesting stuff. It's very difficult to tie all of this together, and that's why I always like to look at these things very loosely. Even though they seem to fit together, sometimes the story doesn't all match until the last piece is in place. Meaning, we are going to continue to follow this. Again, Lucky Redfish, thank you so much for DMing me that the link to that tweet, because that is some crazy stuff, and I learned a whole bunch of new stuff. I hope you guys did too. Guys, that's the clip. Catch you tomorrow.